I want you to check out the ladies' point of view tonight. It's on fire. Hello, hello. It's your favorite DJ, Heidi Fly. The chick they all love or hate. You guys, welcome to another episode of Ladies' Point of View. And I have all my lovely ladies in the building with me tonight. Let me click over here. Now, you guys, real quick, let me check my sound, make sure I can hear what the people are hearing. How are you ladies doing tonight? Can you ladies go ahead and introduce yourselves? Nice. And tell everybody where they can find you. Let me click over here. They sound, make sure I can hear what the people are hearing. How you ladies doing tonight? Can you
doing
ladies
good,
go ahead and
should we go in alphabetical order? I'm sorry.
Sure, I hear someone listening to me. Turn me down. What the people are hearing. I'm on someone's background.
Not mine. I'm sorry.
Sure, I hear someone listening.
I'm just Trish, is that yours, Trish?
Hold on.
Is that Trish's background?
Might be Shush. I think she muted it now.
Okay.
Okay, great.
All right, Sugar, you go ahead and go first.
Okay. Hi, Mona. This is Sugar PYT, guys. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to see everybody. And my channel is Sugar PYT. Shout out to everybody.
Hey, I guess I'll go next. This is Mona Simone the Brain. Hashtag Freddie's daughter, hashtag Madame Sir. You can find me everywhere as Mona Simone the Brain.
Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and Shush whenever you can come in. You're a little frozen, so I think your mic is muted. Shush.
Yeah, she has to unmute it.
Okay, so you guys know me as Heidi Flaucci. I am a DJ, musician, designer, and yeah, you guys. Oh, there she is. Come on through, Shush. You guys, please subscribe to each one of the ladies, please. And as you guys come in, can you go ahead and hit the like button? And also go ahead and subscribe to each of the ladies. Miss Shush Trish, subscribe to Mona Simone the Brain, and Sugar PYT. Shush will be coming in and out, but she is getting it together. Just a couple
Hey, Heidi, do me a favor. Sorry to interrupt you.
Hey,
send
Mona.
Me the link. Text me the link to my phone so I can send it to my folks.
Okay, let me do that.
All right, thank you, babe.
Okay.
Oh, and I do have a new Instagram page. I forgot. Mona the Narcissist on Instagram now. That's my new Instagram channel. So find me there.
Yes. Yes. And my Instagram is King Heidi Flights, you guys. That's King Heidi Flights, FLYGHTZ. That's how you would spell flights. Do you have an Instagram, Sugar?
I do. It is Sugar Bear PYT. So SHUGA Bear PYT.
Yes.
BEAR.
Yes, Mona, BEAR. Thank you.
Cool.
Shush Trish, go ahead and introduce yourself as soon as you get a chance. If you can hear me, we can definitely see you.
Yes. Okay. This is
Trish. Yes, yes. Shush. And Shush, if you have to go out and come in with your avatar, that's
I'm
fine. That's no
interviewing
problem.
y'all.
So while we're waiting on that and everything, you guys, what we're going to do, you guys, today's topic is about colorism. I found a video from the late 90s, you guys, and it's not a movie, it's a talk show called Donahue. And I just took a little clip. We're gonna look at like a 6-minute clip, and they are gonna touch on a bunch of different parts of colorism. And it is going to irritate you. So if you have any questions or comments that you want to leave, I want you to leave it. If you feel passionate and you want to hit the link and you want to ask either one of the ladies a question, we are open to that as well. You guys, please support all of the ladies and their cash apps. Everybody know Mona Simone. Everybody knows Mona Simone's cash app. It's famous.
Yes.
So ladies, if you want to tell everybody your cash app, and I can go ahead and type it in there real quick. So
okay, sure. Guys, if you decide to cash at me, I definitely do appreciate it. My cash app is simply Sugar PYT, just as spelled on screen, all one word.
all right, and then we got cash app Mona Simone on the
yes, $sign Mona Simone on the cash app. From $1 to $1 million. Thank y'all.
Right. What's Trish's cash app? Maybe she could type it in her So yes, you guys, all support is appreciated. You guys, this is definitely a touchy topic, but it's something that I feel like that we all should talk about and we should tackle. We should not be afraid of this topic. And I feel like as women, it's even more detrimental that we talk about this topic.
I definitely agree.
Okay, there it is. Okay, we have the cash apps going across. Okay, you guys. So now, without further ado, I'm going to play this video, and after the video, us ladies will give our commentary. You guys, we are going to try to be really strict on the time. We definitely want to, leave within the hour, you guys. So here we go. Let's do it.
I think if we want to talk about when it all started, we talk about before the slaves got here. A Caribbean slave owner actually was talking to a slave owner in South Carolina before he got a slave. He said, how am I going to keep these slaves in line? I don't have any clue as to what we're going to do. So what he actually did was the slave owner in the Caribbean islands actually wrote him a letter back saying to him, listen, you got to start to create some kind of dissension between them. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to call the light-skinned one, bring them in the house. And the darker skinned ones, you're going to create some kind of friction between themselves. And that's where it all started. We're going to talk about how it started here in America.
We can oppress these people better if we can get them to fight with each other.
Right. Absolutely.
And isolate them. If you're light skinned, there was a resentment.
Absolutely. And also, it's
Incidentally, what are you, just curiously, may I ask, on the scale?
See, and it's a strange thing. I have been everything from light to dark, and it really depends on who you're sitting next to. If I'm sitting next to this gentleman, I become lighter. If I'm sitting next to someone that's lighter than I become darker. And because I'm kind of in the middle, that's why it's all really crazy, because it just depends on how you see it.
But it's important enough for you to do a lot of work on this and to co-author the book.
Well, because I think it's caused people a lot of pain.
If we're talking about using what is natural to you.
Yeah. You have a problem with straightening? Straightening hair? If you're a black person?
If it is intended to change who you are, yes.
Black men are attracted to light-skinned black women with long hair. Do you believe that, Kathy Russell? You are co-author of The Color Complex. Do you believe that?
Overall, yes, I believe that.
Mm-hmm. And is it your view that this is because of a white world that respects lightness?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that the black man then internalizes this and sees lightness as better, sexier?
Right.
Is it akin to a white man being attracted to a blue-eyed blonde woman? These are the women in the white world we think of as sexy and beautiful, etc.
Right, and the comparison in the black world to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman is the light-skinned African-American woman. So it's...
Is it true that in your own life you dated a man who wouldn't marry you because why?
Well, he said that I wasn't quite light enough to be his wife, but to bear his children. That was what he said. But I think it's not a personal vendetta of mine. I want to make that point up front. It's just something that that I've seen throughout my life, and that's why.
Yes. Your book includes phrases like "hi yella."
Yeah, those are terms that people use to describe others' color.
But "hi yella" is that good, or is it offered in a sneering way?
No, I would say that's offered in a sneering way.
Mm-hmm. But this has divided black families, has it not?
Oh, definitely. It has.
And do we not have a lot of pain out there from men and women? I would think mostly women who took a lot.
And that that's why we wrote this book.
You also tell stories of black parents who are disapproving when their children or a young adult, a teenager, brings home a dark-skinned date?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not all black families. I mean, my mom isn't like that. It's just some that are like that.
You sit next to your co-author, Midge Wilson. You likewise are responsible for the color complex. You're a social psychologist from DePaul University. Mm-hmm. And may I say, it should be said you're a white person.
I'm a white person.
Well, there was a time in this country when we might have had some tribunals that would demand that you prove it.
We still have it.
You're still right.
We still have it.
She could have one drop in her. You never know.
And that's all it would take.
That's all it takes.
As far as I know.
Yes, ask the people who wrote the law. You believe that, first of all, this kind of prejudice exists within the black community.
That is my understanding, and especially after working on this book, because
Yes.
I think a lot of whites don't realize the extent of the prejudice.
Yeah. Tell us about your own, how the scales fell from your eyes. You're an academic, and you did a lot of scholarship on this. Tell us.
I grew up in the South, and I heard things white people would say, like light-skinned blacks are more intelligent. This is known as the mulatto hypothesis. And it's a very arrogant assumption on the part of whites that if they have some white blood in them, then that makes them smarter because they're more like us. Or you hear other things like dark-skinned black men are more criminally dangerous, more sexually driven. And there are all these crazy myths that exist in the white community about African Americans on the basis of their skin color.
Just to stop you for a moment now, we have the proverbial white person walking down the street at night, and coming the other way are black men.
Right.
Now the question is, who's going to flee to the other side of the street?
Right.
And in your hypothesis, if those black males are very black, the fleeing will take place with more urgency.
With more rapidity. Yes. Because there is a perception that the darker the skin, the lower the class, the angrier. And this isn't true. There is a color class hierarchy in this country, but there's no one-on-one relationship. There's no one-on-one relationship between skin color and intelligence.
And is it your view that but this is a very sad commentary. If we've got this we have black people who are adopting the same kind of racist chemistry that has exploited them for so long by the white power structure.
It's a clear case of trickle-down discrimination. And I think African Americans have been hesitant to talk about this issue. We don't want to air our dirty laundry, but they've got to, because whites play a role in perpetuating it, and whites have to look at what they do every day to keep this issue alive.
And when Spike Lee made that comment, it was Spike Lee who said that black men go for light-skinned women with longer hair. And he also made the point that a lot of people, can we see it? He also made the point that a lot of blacks become very uncomfortable because he was saying that. Let me show you here. This was this is school days. She's talking about her hair.
Ain't even real. You wish you had hair like this. Girl, you know you weren't even born with blue eyes. That's right. Blue contact lenses. They're just jealous. Right. Jealous. Right? Benny, Barbie doll. Hi, yellow heifer. Tar baby. Wanna be white? Chickaboo.
Well, there's the litany of dirty names to call people. If here's what that's from School Days, a film directed by Spike Lee. Here's what he said. Whether black men admit it or not, they feel light-skinned women are more attractive than dark-skinned, and they'd rather see long hair than a short afro because that's closer to white women. That comes from being inundated with media from the time you're born that constantly fed you, the white woman, as the image of beauty. That's both conscious and unconscious, said Mr. Lee. But on the whole, talking to my friends and knowing men, I see that a premium is put on light-skinned sisters with long hair. All true, huh?
All true.
And it's bad because,
Well,
first of all, it penalizes persons, it's arbitrary.
right, absolutely. And not only that, but I think you're buying into, the myth that somehow white is better, so therefore lighter is better. And I think that it then takes out so many other African-American women that are beautiful, whether they have short. And my feeling is this: African-Americans come in looks everything from Whoopi Goldberg to Lena Horne and all in between. And it depends on your personal preference as to what you feel is beautiful. And that's another point to be made. There are prejudices, but there are preferences.
J. Edward Giles is CEO and publisher of Image Magazine. Do you agree with Mr. Lee, with Spike Lee's observation about light-skinned women?
Absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, the one problem I have here is that, first of all, this is no new phenomenon. This is not something that just took place like within the past century or past decade or so. This is something that was here from the time that we were brought here, from the time that your forefathers or your forefather stepped into my ancestry's bedroom and took advantage of them. And that is what white America doesn't want to face. That is what Black America knows. We know this. It is true, I would add, not only for African American men, but for African American women too, or people of color, women of color too, because you see an inundation now of hair weaves. And I understand the issue of cosmetic changes and so forth, that I can understand.
All right, ladies. Let me unmute y'all's mics. Sugar, I think you have your mic muted. Okay. Okay.
I have my own mic muted because it's loud here. So when
Okay.
I'm not speaking, I'll just mute it. Yeah.
Great. So that was a lot, you guys, right? I see the chat going crazy, and we will get to those comments later. We're definitely going to go through all the comments, especially if it's like a question or something we should be talking about. So you guys, let's. Who wants to start? Dig right in.
That was heavy. That was heavy. But what's so crazy is listening to it. This has to be almost 20 years old, like a clip. And it's so like coming that they could have did that show yesterday. It is still that bad and that sad. Go ahead, Sugar.
I mean, like you're saying, I think it's amazing that we still, it's not really far out because like they started off saying, this is something that started during slavery times that was purposely done. And so I guess when you look at it, we have like so far to go on so many different things. Oh, am I on you guys? Hold on. We all went back. Wait, hold on. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Y'all
Yeah,
just
you're
can't see
frozen.
me?
Yes, we can still see you. You froze, but we can hear you really well.
Okay, shall I come back in and come back out, or so sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, I think if you want your screen to unfreeze, you might want to drop out and come back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You sound good. You
just to piggyback off what she was saying too, how, you know, a lot of the hatred for each other began sort of like, or we, in our mind, we think that it began around slavery times, like the colorism. And because back in, you know, the slavery times, they pit us against each other to keep us preoccupied so that we didn't realize the true danger at hand and the true enemy at hand. So they taught us that we ourselves and our own kinfolk were our enemy. Sometimes colorism is very prevalent and it does exist. I wouldn't totally give the entire credit to European slave movement though, because African tribes were warring even before that. Keep in mind, Africa is a continent. It's not just a country. So within that continent, we have so many different countries and so many different tribes and so many different people and different types of people. And I think it's human nature to try to find our differences and try to assert ourselves within the human genome, just period. So I wouldn't give it all to European slave trade, but yes, it did help us to really see some of us as being better suited for certain things. Or you get that whole non-threatening Black girl, like because I can speak proper English and I'm light or brown skin, you know, I'm that non-threatening Black girl that they're hired in corporate America before my darker sisters. Like, and I hate that. You know, I have dark skinned kids. My ex-husband was dark skinned. My father's very dark. I love dark skinned people. I got my own complex because my iPhone, I don't know if you've ever seen my iPhone emoji, Heidi. But everybody keeps telling me she's darker than what I am. But I think she and I are the same complexion. But nonetheless, yeah, it's 2020 and it's still very prevalent. And it goes both ways. Like you have light skinned sisters that hate on the darker skinned sisters. And you have the darker skinned sisters, some who stereotype and hate on the lighter skinned sisters. You know, colorism is not just one way. It's not just, you know, light skin against dark skin.
Right.
And then you have my brown skin ass in the middle. Like, can we all just get along?
Right.
That part right there.
Right. What was you saying, Sugar PYT?
I was just basically saying that, you know, from when we were in, you know, when they had slavery, when we had slavery going on in the United States, I feel like, you know, what the gentleman was saying was right. It just caused a lot of problems because then you had I guess at some point the white woman became the standard of beauty, right? So everything that they portrayed it as that was the standard of beauty. Meanwhile, while they were portraying that was the standard of beauty, it seems like they were sitting back wanting the attributes that the African or the Black ladies had, such as, you know, the big derriere or the juicy lips, you know, just being juicy all over. It seemed like they wanted that, but somehow she became, you know, the standard. So because that became the standard, I think that it made some people maybe feel like they weren't good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were darker, maybe you would feel like, okay, well, you know, there's no chance my hair is ever going to be straight. So, you know, it might make you feel like you're not good enough. And then if you have family members that are doing the same thing, it's just a whole mess.
And even that within itself, like the stereotype, like I don't even know if Black people realize that there's this stereotype that all dark skinned people have like really nappy curly hair and that only light skinned people have like pretty silky hair, you know, that good hair. I've seen completely opposite. Like I know, you know, Black dark skinned women with silky hair and they constantly get asked, what do you mix with? What do you mix with? You know? And then I know some lighter skinned sisters who have very curly hair, you know?
Right,
yeah.
right.
But I agree with what you were saying. I was just piggybacking off of what you said. It made me think about that.
Right. Right. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, another thought I had on that is also some white women have perpetuated the mulatto standard because they wanted to make an excuse. In my opinion, I feel like it's an excuse to the white men for why they are attracted to the black women. It's like, oh, that's only because the white was in there. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that's another reason why they feel like they have to help me, Mona.
Perpetuate
the whiter standard or the lighter standard. Go ahead, Sugar.
No, I had a swift thought, but it kind of left me a little bit. What I wanted to say is that, like, you have, as far as like the colorism goes, okay, between is it that the black men seeing the white woman as like a trophy? Is that what it is? Is that why? I'm just trying to figure out how
that
is
like
it that
unattainable goal. You know, back in the day, black men, it wasn't too long of a time ago where black men couldn't have white women. You couldn't be seen with a white woman. You get killed for even winking or looking at a white woman for too long. So I think what it is, I think for some of them, yeah, they have some self-hate and they do hate black sisters or darker skinned sisters. But I think for some of them, they see that as a sign of success. Like you get so far beyond being an N-word that you're able to get all these unattainable goals. You got all this money. You got this big house in the hills where you ain't supposed to be. You got this woman on your arm that you ain't supposed to have. It's like a big F you to the system and saying, I can have everything that's yours. I think even more than, like a trophy, and not even the trophy and the idea of the trophy looking sexy and put together, sort of like a trophy as in I won, I've taken over. I think that's why a lot of black men, I don't know if they really sat down and psychoanalyzed it, but I think that's why they are attracted to, or the initial attraction began to a lot of white women, just to be able to have something that you're told you can't.
Right. I mean,
I would like to interject.
But that's just my opinion.
Come on in, Shush. Go ahead. Interject.
Okay, so colorism did not begin in slavery. It began during ancient Kemetic times during the Night of the Pillars with the Moors. They traveled the world to teach white people, European people, uh, how to survive. Back in the day, in ancient Kemetic times, so we can get historical science lessons, kings and queens was chosen by the complexion, and they were not light skinned. The European culture is what broke that up. The more melanin you had, the more you were likely to be a queen. So I don't want to distort that it was always that higher light skin standard. Masa Musa, the most richest man to date, the king, Masa Musa, was married to the darkest woman alive. So I don't know, uh, what happened along the way in times, but it was definitely um, a systematic divide between blacks, light skin, brown skin, and the Moors. That's who started this. So
Trish is saying some real good stuff. I hate to interrupt you, Trish, but will you speak up just a little bit like the next time because your voice is really low? I definitely want to hear everything you're saying and everybody too, because she was saying some good stuff.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
Night of
much
the Pillars
better.
is where.
Yeah.
Yes, that's way better.
Okay, thank you so much. Night of the Pillars is where colorism began for Africans, the chosen people. The Moors wanted to help Europeans and those of white skin around the world uh, to survive. They were dying. They were dying off. And they traveled the world. That's why we have the African diaspora. And we planted our seeds, even though the elders told them to stay, never leave the continent of Africa. It would change the world and human being society as we know it if they did. They did not listen, and they was never to return to Africa. So some of them went to other colonies and made uh, mate with white women, which of course was forbidden. But that's where it all started with the mixing, the interracial babies, way before the Atlantic slave trade and European slave trade. So the Night of the Pillars is where we should start researching and learning about colorism it was never a big thing, but melanin is definitely a valued
asset
cell.
back in those days. Yeah, that's what even just thinking critically, that's what I was thinking too. That's why I was saying, I don't know if we can give the European slave trade like all of that, because when you just think about human nature, it does seem likely. And like she said, the darker, like Mansa Musa had, it said that, he had the blackest queen, the blackest woman, because being dark was seen as royalty in Africa, just like at one point being heavier was seen as royalty. You were seen as somebody that was well fed and you came from a good home, and things changed with the era. But our history often gets lost when we aren't in control of writing our history. So I'm glad she shared that.
True. Yeah.
Yes, I'm really glad she. And another thing I want to.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Shush.
I wanted to fast forward because I was reading the chat a little bit regarding, and also to piggyback what my other beautiful panelist was saying about it being prevalent with colorism being present today. We have been making slow ripples, excuse me, slow ripples into society, as you know now, in every industry, especially the model industry. The darker the model, the younger, they are really, really sought out by that industry. And even though colorism is not, absent in the music, fashion, and modeling industry, they know they're starting to understand that because of the HeLa cell, melanin and black people are the most valued jewel on the planet. So that's why we have, uh, propaganda regarding organ stealing. Why do you think they want black people organs and things like that? They want those cells, and the darker you are, science. So I just wanted to say that.
That's what's up.
Right. And one more thing with the hair, like Mona was talking about, I wanted to backdoor that real quick because I did have that in my notes. Do you guys remember when we was young, we always played outside? As African American kids, you were never the color, your real color, until you got older and learn how to get out the sun and take care of your skin.
Especially not in Florida. We were like 4 shades darker.
Right.
Okay?
And
but beautiful, but still.
Right. And I remember my great grandmother always saying, "Get out the sun. You're getting black. You're getting black." I do remember that growing up. But also I remember that like when you done got too black during, during the summer, after you go swimming, I mean, you just 10 shades black. Y'all know how our melanin do. We begin to pick in each other's hair. And I remember being little and having my cousins go, "Oh, she got water wave hair. Okay, well, your hair is like this." Like we literally, I remember, but I didn't realize that it was part of colorism. It was part of trying to figure out what's better or not. Not that no one ever said you're better. You just felt like in some type of way, "Oh, they're saying I got water wave hair," and it's like they're making it seem like a good thing. And then you got the ones that, and they'll look in your hair, "Oh, your hair nappy." Like I remember I could be so tan and a black person would still know if your skin was naturally light or not. It don't matter.
Or they'll look like under your shirt to see your skin color on the other side of your arm. I grew up actually being ashamed of my hair. My hair, I don't know what chart I fall in. It's not quite a 4C. I'm envious of 4C. I think it's like a 3A or some stuff like that. But from a distance, it looks very Afroid. But once it's wet and you touch it and you see how it lays down, it's a little different. But I grew up, my sister and I had really long hair, like down to the middle of our backs, because our mother, she really took care of our hair. Like every Sunday, it was a routine that took hours to do our hair. And so because it was so different from so many of the other girls in my neighborhood, some of them had trouble growing hair. Some of them had really coily hair that they didn't like, or they had those perms, and the mama put the knocker on it and it just stick out like that. And people used to always try to pull my hair, play in my hair. I started braiding my hair up or putting it up in a bun and wearing it in my hat because I was ashamed to walk around with long hair. And I didn't want my sisters, I grew up in sort of like a very Afrocentric family. So, my passion is really for the community. And just from an early age, like I didn't want to make them feel like they weren't special because their hair wasn't like mine.
Right.
But isn't it amazing that we as Black people, we can straighten our hair, we can lock our hair, we
Mm-hmm.
can curl our hair, we can do
Anything.
anything with our hair.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see so many other cultures, ethnicities of people mocking that tradition. Since
Mhm.
ancient Kemetic days, even our
Yes.
men and women both wore wigs. So I don't want to hear that wig and fake hair stuff
Right.
because
Right.
we dismiss it. You couldn't be a king or queen if you didn't wear it. Was That's where we get it from Christianity. You know, those dollies that Black women wear to church, always wear your hair covered. That came from ancient Kemetic days. All of these religious little protocols. It comes from our natural, original religion and spiritual guidance. We all wore fake hair, men
Mhm.
and women. I just wanted to say that.
Can I really quick respond to a comment in the comment section, Heidi, if you don't mind?
Go ahead.
TYS Consulting is basically accusing you of a colorist because you take jabs at Tracy or whatever when y'all beefing. Look, when you're beefing, that has nothing to do with how a person feels at heart. When you're in attack mode and somebody's coming at you and they're saying whatever they can to hurt you, a lot of people are going to say whatever they can to hurt back. So that doesn't make her a colorist. And I know
And
Heidi
wait a minute, and Mona,
personally, and
and that's the
never.
motherfucking lie. When I talk
Right.
about
Okay. Go
Tracy,
ahead.
I compare Tracy to fucking different what the fuck I
Animals.
call this bitch, an anteater. I don't never say yo black skin. I've never just been like her black skin or skin tone. I don't do that. That's not my roasting gag.
You know what,
Okay. So
Heidi?
stop fucking lying,
Right.
dumbass
And
bitch.
I know
And
you
I take offense
personally,
to
and I
that
know how
bitch.
you love all shades of women.
You,
So I
I
know that's
know
not
what.
true.
I don't think Heidi likes ugly people. That's what I think.
Ugly acting people. But you might be right.
I
Bougie
never ever
Heidi.
looked at Heidi as a
All
colorist.
your
I
friends are
never looked
pretty.
at Heidi as a colorist. I wouldn't be on her panel if I thought she was a colorist. I just don't think she likes ugly people. And we live in an appearance-based society, and that's okay. What I hope you guys can hear me in the chat. I saw that you could hear.
Maybe
I
that.
want you to
Maybe
get
that.
this information.
That might be it.
Listen, in ancient Kemetic science days, both men, kings, and female queens all wore wigs. So I want to debunk all of this fake hair. We need to
Yeah.
open up businesses in here. I want these Chinese to let us in because
Don't
we
we?
I mean, that's the only thing that I have a problem with.
A
When I wear
billion
my
dollar
wraps, I wear a
industry.
wig. I don't care what I wear. As long as I'm looking good, it's okay. But the bottom line is, as long as you look good, Heidi will like you. Smash it.
Look, and I just want to piggyback off of what Trish just said. A billion dollar industry that most of its
Sure
consumers
is.
are women of African descent,
Smash
and
it.
we have no type of monopoly on the market whatsoever. The Asians have hair completely blocked off. Like
And they don't even wear it. They
they won't
and
even
they
let
got
us buy
the
it
they got the nerve.
wholesale.
They got the nerve to be racist toward us. Some of them, for the ones that aren't, but they got the
Right.
nerve to be racist. But every dollar y'all make in the hair
The black
industry
dollar.
is from us.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are trying to cater to the African American woman. Y'all shit isn't catering to y'all. But I'm gonna tell you another thing. African American women make it look so cool, and then the shit get expensive. So it makes us look luxurious and top of the line. So then the other races start wearing the weave and the colorful hair. They start cutting their long hair off, like Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner. What is that when the white girls cut their hair off so that they could rock a weave like a black girl?
Right.
So and
Steady
that was
rocking.
what we was gonna touch. I wanted to touch on that weave because Odu was really adamant about us not wearing weaves. But first, we got a guest. Let's hear Shay's question, you guys, real quick, and then we'll get back to our commentary. Hello,
Okay.
Shay. Welcome to the ladies' point of view.
Yes, how everyone? Good evening.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. I don't have a question. I just kind of wanted to chime in on the colorism whole issue. My opinion is that I do feel as though colorism is definitely something that was implemented through the European society. They didn't just do it in America, but if you notice their footprints everywhere that they have gone and settled everybody has that issue. I don't care if it's even in Asia. Since we're speaking about Asian people actually have, yes, they have colorism problems. You have South Asians and you have North Asians. And I live in a predominantly Asian community, and I have a friend. Well, I wouldn't say friend, so associate, and she is Korean. But she told me, and she grew up in Harlem, and she always told me, when I was a young girl, my mother used to tell me that she didn't want me to get dark because it looks like that they are poor, that the darker you are, it looks like you work in the field, like they didn't have money. Right.
That's because Koreans are very prejudiced, and you have to understand that Asia, all of Asia, was originally a part of Africa.
And the Asia Minor.
That part.
Yeah, absolutely. And but I do agree that wherever the Europeans wherever they go, they actually do the whole tactic of divide and conquer. And so that is their manipulative tactics that they are very good at. They have that down very well. Even if you go to Puerto Rico, they were conquered by the Spaniards, and some people understand Spain is in Europe. Those are European people, Spain. Yeah. And so even in the Puerto Rican culture, you still have, again, colorism. In Africa, I just heard a young lady, is it Trish? Is that your name?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. I heard you speak of the Moors as far as them wanting to, help the Europeans out based off of the people who were, mixing them with highly melanated people. And what I wanted you guys to understand is there is no such thing as white people. It's either you're melanated or non-melanated. Everybody knows that people.
Well, white people have melanin too. They just have a far lesser amount. Yeah.
They have a matter of fact.
They say that the Caucasian race was created by a defunct in our genome and our genetics.
Thank you
a genetic
for saying
defect.
That, Mona. You said it. Now I can go back on mute.
Well, they have white people have such a low amount of melanin to the point where they are actually considered to be what's the word I'm looking for? It's actually like I don't want to say
deficient.
It's a deficiency. It's a deficiency to the point where they're called what is the word?
Mongoloid.
No. I forget. Dang it. But anyway, so they have people think that blue eyes are pretty, but pretty much the blue eye is the weakest eye to have. It cannot absorb the sun. That shows the lack of melanin. Usually people who have blue eyes it's the weakest eye to have.
Well, I think it's something about that they lack nutrition. It's a thing for malnutrition. Actually,
melanin. They lack melanin. That's what the blue eye comes from. The lighter your hair is, and the blonde hair and the blue eye shows you right there that they are melanin deficient. People who have blonde hair and blue eyes, that is the weakest DNA to have. Yet, and you can look this up. These are scientific facts.
Well, also the
Africans.
Well, you also have the Africans with the blue eyes and the blonde hair and the auburn hair, and they are said to be that way because of the lack of nutrition made their eyes blue.
Melanin. It's the melanin and the
and you
darker.
Can also look that up.
It is a nutrition deficiency.
Okay. All right. I'll let y'all. Okay. So I do feel like, that is definitely an issue, is that it is a divide and conquer issue. And as far as Asians with us and promoting our hair and all that, I just think that it's pretty much for us. It's something that we have to take back into our community and pretty much, sell it and take control of it because the Asian women, everybody, they look at us like we're so fly because we are. It doesn't matter if we wear a potato sack.
We are the dopest.
And then people try to make us ashamed of selling the shit that we wear. Why? I want black women and black men and black people in general. We are creating these trends. We should not feel ashamed to sell them. Fuck what Tommy Sotomayor talking about. And another thing I wanted to say
about that
before we get too far off, I'm limited education, but the only time that Asians admit that they were part of Africa is to justify them selling bundles and perms. Okay, go ahead.
No.
There are still Asian tribes of African descent that look African.
the only black woman I know that was able to infiltrate the Chinese because she sold her soul was Raven Simone. And I really need to know, like, I really, if you want to be strategic, I believe you should, if you have, I don't know who just joined the live stream, but if you have a
That's
friend,
Shay.
yeah,
Yes.
please be friends with the Asians. They, you want to
Why?
get in it. Well, are you serious? That's your plug right there.
I remember,
That's your
I
no.
remember
No.
8 years
That's
ago, my mom and I, we were trying to buy a hair store. And so I was trying to get in to be able to buy hair wholesale from
Correct.
China. They would not let me in. Like I
Okay,
did
so you
not know
wasn't that
nobody.
cool with them. See, I
Exactly,
have
at
clients
all.
that are Asian, and let me tell you,
But network with everybody. But
you
yeah,
got to
damn sure
network with
them Asians.
everybody because they
Yeah.
have their cousins, their brothers, their uncles, people that
And
come
once
from
you in, you
China.
in.
Yeah, you gotta get a plug, and this is why I'm saying we all need each other. And as long as your agenda is primarily on developing black business, you can work with anybody, because if you know how it is, if you stay stagnant with the black community, everyone's going to hate on you. Once they see you moving and doing it, they'll join. But
Hmm.
it's
We're
very
so
important
critical
that
of
you
each other.
understand the Chinese have taken over the world right before us like ninjas. They're everywhere.
I mean,
And
we live in the United States of China right now.
yeah.
exactly, but
But
they've
but
taken
aren't
over the world.
Mm-mm.
They've taken over the world. They're in
But
Jamaica,
it
they're in
to
Africa.
piggyback off what Trish said, because I know Shay is like not really feeling that vibe about being friends with the Asian. But I do believe that networking is important, because when we network with people of other ethnicities, they
Yeah.
have different, hookups that we may not be able to get. Like for instance, if I had, and I don't, and I would imagine that she's saying an authentic friendship, not like fake the friendship, but if you cool with the
They
girl, then
fake the friendship
definitely.
with us. Don't put words in
Okay,
my
then
mouth.
she's
Don't put
definitely
words in
saying
my
fake
mouth.
the friendship. I was
okay,
passing it
sis?
up. You better go ahead, Beast.
Yes.
You better.
Hey, I
I
love
ain't
that.
mad at it, because
I'm
sometimes it's a doggy
international.
dog word. Yeah,
I've
doggy dog
dated
world.
Asian men before.
Listen, and
Go
let me
ahead.
tell you
Yeah,
something. We need to learn how to be proud and to be vigilant when it
yeah,
comes down to our purpose. They making us jump through hoops to get in, to get plugs. You got your business,
yeah.
they make you jump through hoops and hoops and hoops. So I'll jump through the hoops right now. Oh, I'll jump through the hoops right now. But once I get in, I'm not jumping through any more hoops. And that's all I'm saying. You got to get
Well,
in. Once you get
I
that
agree to
little loophole,
networking.
Yeah.
It just has to be
And
authentic for me, because if it ain't, I don't
yeah, but
remember
no one is
lives too
doing
well.
business authentic in the world, Mona.
No, I
There's no
mean, you can
way.
be authentic. Well, maybe we should have an operational definition for authentic. Like, I
Okay,
don't mean you got to open up your whole heart and soul with them, like they're your bestest friend in the world. But I'm
No.
saying don't pretend to like someone when you don't,
no,
or don't
no,
just
no,
be
no,
around
not
people that you don't.
that.
Yeah, that's what
Of
I was
course.
saying. That you see, I knew what you was talking about. Not
Okay,
be
okay.
inauthentic,
No, no,
like
no,
be
no. Don't
true,
be
but be
fake like an
aggressive.
evil
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
Invite them
Yeah,
to
that's
your
what I was
birthday
saying.
parties for your kids and things
Yeah,
like
thank you
that.
for clearing
But
that up.
understanding the purpose, I agree with that. Okay, look, but
Yeah,
as far as putting them a friendship, to me with the ops before my black community, that would never happen. Bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah,
mhm.
I agree, because I think there is a difference between a business relationship and an actual friendship, or friendly and and having a friendship. And I think sometimes with us black people, we get confused when someone is actually being friendly and are actually our friends. And when we get in with with people of other ethnicities, we feel like we made it. And really, it's not about making it. You have to be in a healthy mind state to be able to, differentiate them being friendly to you and really being your friend. Because I noticed that a lot of black people actually get their feelings hurt because of some type of business deal that they have
Yeah,
that's gone
right,
wrong.
exactly.
But
And
right.
that's what I'm saying.
So
That
it's
that
a
is a
it's a
very important fact that you're making, and I want you to stay there, because a lot of black businesses make that mistake. They think going to the other side is right, and that's all fine and dandy. But what is your strategy? Because it's them against us. We don't have
I
any.
have a question.
You
Do
know,
you guys think that, even across different ethnicities, that there is a sense of colorism? Like we were speaking
Yes.
earlier about the lighter skinned
Yes.
Black woman
Yes.
being
Yeah.
more
of course.
acceptable.
Mhm.
How
Even
about the
amongst white
colorism,
people,
like when
Mona.
trying to befriend the different ethnicities, how difficult it may be for a darker
Yeah,
sister? Yeah.
Sicilians are definitely really looked down upon.
Literally every
Italians, there's
race.
always
I
something.
feel like America contaminated really the whole world. A lot of people look to America as to what's next,
The
what's cool.
standard.
Yeah, we're like
No,
the
that's
cool
Queen
country,
Elizabeth.
right?
No,
So
Come on,
I
Queen
feel
Elizabeth.
like every culture that I've ever experienced has a light and a dark group. And I feel like there's colorism in each one of them.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Asian cream is selling in China, in India, in America. It's selling everywhere. It's not just
Jamaica.
in Jamaica. People want to make
Yeah.
it seem like Africans doing all this bleaching. No, baby.
No.
Bleaching started with Europeans to keep
And
Yes.
then
us
ain't
And
it so
Asian.
backwards?
fair
And then it
and
seems like when they
done,
get to some Caucasian people, then they like to
yeah.
tan and become darker.
exactly. But
Like
just to
darker.
correct you, it was the Vatican who started that. It really did. They wanted a white world. That's where the New World Order
Well,
comes
they
from.
convince
A
us
really white
through
world.
their religions that
Catholic.
that God
Yeah.
is white. They try to convince us that we're under a white God and a white Jesus. From the Middle East. I don't know how
And
that can happen
the
back
Bible
then.
tells you. The
And
Bible literally tells you what Jesus looked like, and white people still think he white. It's like
yeah, well, they
It's
want to
because
convince us
it's
that they're
white fragility.
godlike.
it's
Yeah,
dark
and
Well,
skin
so we
because
and
end
that
up.
bronze skin,
that
warm
yeah,
hair,
because that
red
Heidi,
eyes.
Heidi, Heidi.
Go ahead.
Did you
Hair
just
like
call me
wool.
Jesus?
Yeshua.
Thank you,
yes, yes,
please, because it
yes.
skeeves me out. With it, that's like a curse. Can we black people stop saying that? They beat that Jesus word into us. Why are you still using that word Jesus? It's like it's a slave word to me. There's no J in the Hebrew
It is a
language
slave
at
word.
all.
Wait, did you say it's pronounce? You say
It's
it's Joshua?
Yeshua. Yeshua.
Jeshua. Okay.
Yes, because
Just like the
the
cross
letter
used to
J
be
did
the
not
Ankh.
exist back then.
Right.
Y'all
There
remember
was
the
no
cross
letter
was the
J back
Ankh?
then.
Yeah,
Yes, that
I've heard
the
those
Ankh is the
stories. Yeah.
original. That's our real cross.
Right. Shay, did you
Yes.
want to
So
say
if you
anything
ever
else before we let you go?
Sure.
Go ahead.
And also back to, yep, the letter J didn't exist back then. And then as far as them convincing us that, everything that is biblical is white, that is nothing but white fragility at its finest. If you go into the Vatican, believe it or not, the Vatican actually, and I've seen this for myself in 2009, I went to the Vatican with my family, and they actually have an area that you cannot take pictures, but they actually have Mary as a Black woman. It's
Mm-hmm.
still in the Vatican till this very day. Jesus is Black. You're not allowed to take any pictures, and they have it set off to the side. But they know that. It's just that they can't say that because it would be too liberating. It would be too empowering for
Mm-hmm.
the chosen ones to actually live up to their fullest godly
And
potential.
white
They're
people
too
lose their damn mind.
they're
They will
exactly,
go
but
crazy, especially in
they will
America.
go. Absolutely. And back to Heidi when she said, I think that the Americas have really messed people up. But to be honest with you, this is the misconception of just only thinking that American white people, if you will, because they're not from here either, but if they're European. Any white American, quote unquote, their heritage goes back to the European countries, whether it's Germany, whether it's Italy, any France, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All that, yes. If you
Facts.
notice that the Spaniards, the French, and the Brits are the ones who go in and they enslave people, and they again
All
implement
facts.
that whole divide and conquer tactic to
Exactly.
make sure that we fight amongst each other, so that we forget that they are our
Preach.
true and real enemy.
I love
So
it.
it's not about America. It is a
Yes.
European problem. These are these people.
I love
The
it.
white people here are European. They are not white Americans. It's the Native Americans that are the natives. We cannot
Whew.
forget that.
Preach.
That they are not from here. So it's a European issue.
Yes.
So people think, oh yeah, they're not racist in the UK. They're not racist. That's a lie.
Big lie.
They are super racist in Europe. That is where it started at.
They
This is
are.
where it comes from. So don't you ever think that it's only the white people in America that are racist. That is baloney. Parisians are super racist.
Racism is
Germans
everywhere.
are
But see, this is the
Mhm.
thing.
It's
I
the
want to stop.
Europeans.
I really want to stop you there because my spirit, everything you said is 100% fact. Okay, but I don't want to lose the real focus here for Black people. Okay, it's not racism. Are you ready?
I'm
It's
ready.
classism. This is not a race war. This is a class war. The poor white people are they're dying too. They're dying off because, they don't have any money for resources. This is about economic development. If you don't have money, whether you're Black, white, Mexican, Spanish, whatever, you're going to be lost. So it's very important that we adopt and really hone in on that Marcus Garvey strategy right now, because the time is now, especially during election. Do not go think that this is a race war. I'm not marching. I'm not the civil rights movement. We wore America out. Now it's time for classism. It's time to get our bags up. For real. We're on YouTube. Heidi, you did a great job with your brand. Keep going, sis. Everyone needs to concentrate on driving a product or service to their channels for socioeconomic development. It's not about race. I don't care about white people.
Yeah, I've said that for years
But
too.
I
That
think
that is definitely
I
about
think that
classicism. And if for those who may not understand what classicism is, it's sort of like a modern day caste system where you have those at the bottom, the have-nots, versus as you get further up, those who have more and more finances, success, and whatnot. That's why you can see some Black people on the top that have managed to succeed and accumulate a certain amount of wealth or whatnot. It's definitely an issue of classicism. I agree.
It is classism, but would you guys agree that in the classism that there is something that they have implemented to make sure that the bottom people look a certain way? It's
I
not
would
a
agree
coincidence.
that it's multi-layered.
Of course.
Yeah, we
It is
definitely wouldn't
not
say racism doesn't
it
exist
isn't
within it.
within it. Absolutely. In order
but
for
here-
classism to work famously, you have really quick.
But baby girl, there's a simple solution. There's a simple solution to everything.
I just wanted to finish my point.
I'm sorry.
Really quick, but
Yeah, and you guys aren't disagreeing,
That's
by the
okay.
way. You aren't disagreeing.
we are definitely
no,
not
I hear
disagreeing.
you. Seriously, I hear you.
But I
Yeah,
don't
I know.
want to. I really want, because I've seen so many panels, so many discussions, so many videos for years and years and years. We talk about the same problems all the goddamn time.
Yes.
We know what the problems are. What are the solutions? Get a business. Even if your kids,
Yes, I agree.
Even if you have kids, open up a lemonade stand. This is what we need to do. I don't want to talk about all the problems. We can talk about it for 100 more years. What is that going to do?
Yeah. Well, what can we do about the
Well, I'll say
issues
this.
of colorism
What-
within our community as well as wealth building
Right. Well, let's
and
let
driving
Sugar
unity?
PYT.
When you have money, it doesn't
ladies,
matter what complexion you are.
Right. Can we let Sugar PYT
Yes, it
say
does.
something real quick? She had a thought real
I just wanted to point out, okay, you guys could tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I'm talking about the people that are like 10, 15 years younger than me. I think they see things a little bit differently based on what I'm seeing with the protests and stuff like that. They seem to be, mingling and mixing and matching with each other very well. They seem to not have the same mind frame that people that are my age and older have.
They have those are agents. Pretty
Times are slowly changing. Like I can look within my kids. My kids are in their 20s.
What's your mind frame?
And they have friends from all different backgrounds.
Yes. So what is your mind frame?
My personal mind frame is I don't have, as far as me dating someone that's outside my race, it's not the first thing on my list to do. Okay. Will I just totally, knock it out and say, oh, that's something I'll never do? No, it's not, because like I told you, Heidi, if you treat me good, we might be able to do a little something. Okay. So I don't have the same mind frame that everybody else have. However, y'all know I have two brothers. My brothers are, younger than me, and I've seen them date. Okay, they date a whole plethora of women. My eldest brother, he dated Filipino women, Black women, white women. My baby brother right now, he's married to a white woman. You understand what I'm saying? And just based on what I'm saying, I have friends that are my age. I don't have kids, but they have kids. They talk to me about, what they teenagers, how they get along. It seems to me like a lot of the younger people, they're not so much thinking, on the on the lines of color like how it was when I was growing up. That's all.
Well, times are slowly changing. When I was growing up, I only had Black friends, but I grew up in the South. It was deeply segregated. And raising my children, they had friends. They have friends from all different backgrounds: white, Black, Asian, gay, straight. Like they don't even care. So times are slowly changing. I would definitely agree to that.
Well, I think the new generation is learning how to politic. I think that they understand that you don't have to be best friends, that they will use other races to grow their numbers. So they've learned from our generation, who was like 15, 20 years older than them, that there is actually power in numbers. So it's a power move more so than a real friendship. Also, really quick, back to Heidi. I've also listened to Heidi talk about school systems. I think when we were talking before this whole new generation thing, I believe it was Trish, I think that's her name. Yeah, she was saying how we need to teach the youth how to build businesses. And I know that Heidi doesn't really believe in the public school system. And I'm with you, sis. Trust me, I do not believe in the public schools. I don't have a lot of trust in it, because I feel as though when we send our kids into those buildings, we relinquish a lot of control, which means that at a young age, they mold and shape, our children's mind. And they groom them to be workers and not entrepreneurs. And I feel as though that's where it all starts. You wonder why a lot of children coming out of school, I want to own my own business, because all those 12 years of training in school, of being in school for 7 to 8 hours, they have literally drilled into your children's mind to go to college and get a good job. And that's all that they do. So it is something that we have to take control of as parents, that when your children come home, if in the event that you do have to send your child to homeschool, not homeschool, but public school. So I'm not bashing any parent. That's not what I'm doing at all. Because I understand people have different circumstances. So that's not what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. But in the event your child does have to go to a public school, you need to take the time out when they come home to deprogram them, to reprogram them. You have to make sure that what they are
robots completely.
I'm with you. I am with you 100%. So that's where it starts. You have to understand that the real teaching is inside the home, not in the school. The school is strictly a game. It is playing chess. Because let's be honest, in order to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to go to college. You have to have a niche. You have to find out in the times what is actually, driving, what's driving everything in the communities or across the world, and get in where you fit in. Let's be honest. We have to stop selling our children this dream that if they don't go to college, that they're not going to be SHIT. That is absolutely false.
Right.
They have to figure out what they are good at, and we encourage and we mold and we say you're the best at it, and we look up stuff together, and we put them in situations where they can actually talk to people, that may be in that realm in which they want to go to, as far as, creating their own business. If you don't know yourself, and you sit there and you get them to be successful by putting them in a position to be successful at home. They don't need the school to actually, be business savvy. That's how I feel.
Listen, can I?
Yes.
Can I interject?
Go ahead.
I'm just feeling like hallelujah praises right now.
Oh my God, I don't know where Shay is.
Hey y'all,
I know Shay should stay.
All the knowledge today. It's a blessing to have you right now.
Well,
go ahead,
ladies. I love being a part.
Listen, I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm so excited. You have no idea. I stood up in my chair like, who is this chick? Wonderful, wonderful. I believe that we should teach our children from ages 2 the band Sacrum Sciences of Survival. And she hit everything on the head. That's body sciences.
Amen.
For the Black community, Black man and Black woman science, agricultural sciences, nutritional sciences, spiritual sciences, astrological sciences, comedic sciences, economical sciences, historical sciences, and military sciences, baby. I'm going back on mute. Please continue. Please.
Because I was going to say one way to encourage your Black children. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And this
also colorism, real quick. Colorism, you teach your kids about colorism at home, and they won't be a part of the problem. Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, Shay, and then we'll get back on that topic.
And I think Sugar wanted to say something too. She's been very patient.
I just want to say that as far as like the younger children are concerned, okay, so sometimes I come in contact with, you know, younger girls, right? And I come in contact with younger girls that may be, you know, of a darker complexion. What I always try to do is I always try to encourage them and just let them know that they're beautiful, right? Because I feel like in today's times, we do have some people that kind of like try to look down upon that. So I always try to make sure that I encourage them. For example, my little sister, she was like making a point to tell me that, you know, she was telling me about her hair. Okay. And she was telling me about her hair versus her cousin's hair, or her complexion versus her cousin's complexion that's lighter. So what I try to do is I try to like encourage her and let her know that she's beautiful, you know what I'm saying, with her own hair and her own skin shade. I just think that's one thing that's very important for the youth, like to input confidence in them. You know what I'm saying? Some people have to build their confidence. And I just think that's one of the important things, you know what I'm saying, for our kids or whatever, so they won't do that to each other. We got to just try to make sure that they're confident people, you know.
Well, can I say this? A good trick. I have three sons, and my first son is like a deep brown. My middle son is light skin, and my younger son is a deep brown, right? And what I do as a trick in my home, to be honest with you, everything in my house is Afrocentric. There is nothing European in my home. Magazines, every single magazine. This may seem extreme, but it's not extreme for
Not
me.
at all.
Understanding what they are going to go through. And there is a certain type of woman that I do want them to bring home to me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, there was a saying growing up, unfortunately, but you know, there was a saying growing up, you know, if she can't use our comb, don't bring her home. But I remember when I stopped perming my hair, it was probably about 10 years ago. And my daughter her hair was being permed at the time. And I encouraged my kids to make their own decisions. You know, I never forced anything on them, but I had a difficult time convincing her not to use the perm anymore, not to perm her hair anymore. So what I did was I started sending her pictures of beautiful Black women with natural hair, India Ari, you know, a lot of old pictures, Angela Davis, Asada Shakur. And I just started empowering her mind. I remember one day she texted me, she's like, okay, Mom, I'm done with the perm. And I was like, you're just the proudest day. So I think it is important to deprogram our children's mind, because they do grow up in a white world. And so everything that they're seeing is white. They start to idolize white, and they want to be more like this European figure. Nothing against white people, but this is the world that our kids live in, and we're entitled to our own identity.
We have a different plight.
Right.
Yes, and we have a different plight. We go through a lot as Black people in America, so we have a different plight. So the way that we have to raise our children, it has to be intentional and it has to be strategic. And I noticed that even though I'm not raising a young Black woman, I have all males, I still make sure, this is no bit of a lie, I only bring magazines in my home that we are on the cover, we bless the cover. If we do not bless the cover, I do not bring it in my home. And that is the truth, because I really feel like when we have and I don't think Black people think about this, but when you have so many even books and magazines with white faces on it, what do you think your child is going to think? They're going to start to look at themselves that they're not beautiful enough to be on the cover of anything. So remember, when you're raising these Black children, be very much so intentional and strategic.
I have
exactly. I agree with that.
My mom had 7 kids. I am one of 4 girls. My sisters are light skinned. All of them. They're lighter than everyone on this panel. They almost look mulatto. What she did was, and I have 3 brothers, what she did was, and I never understood it until I became an adult. And they were much older than me. They were old enough to be my parents because she had me at a very old age. What she did was she made sure that I knew that my skin was the most beautiful in the household.
That part.
What
she
did was, and my brothers played a huge part because there was 5%ers and Muslims. So everyone kind of treated me like a princess. Okay,
that's the same thing I did for my daughter.
Hey, if you do that, she's going to be totally fine.
Oh yeah, she's 20. She'll be 22 this year. I remember a couple of years ago when they were talking about how people often ask tell darker skinned sisters that you're pretty for a dark skinned girl. So I asked my daughter, I said, has anybody ever said that to you? She's like, no. I was like, have you ever felt insecure about the color of your skin? She's like, no. I mean, I created a beast because you can't tell her she don't look good as just any other female
my daughter
of any
is.
other complexion.
That's how my daughter. I made sure that she was confident because I already know. And like you said, Shay, I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional. I want my daughter to know that she is the standard of beauty. So I'm always making her the face of things. I'm always including her. I always want her to feel like she is gorgeous. Okay.
Right.
And she is.
She is the beauty standard because everybody wants to be like us.
Exactly. Exactly. And I remember being one of those people who I would always go for the underdog, even in kids. I remember when I was young, I would hang out with handicapped kids. I hung out with like the dirtiest kids, like the kid that was standing in the corner. I don't know why, but I was always like, my auntie used to say that I attract strays. Because as I got older, she used to try to tell me who to be friends with. And I was like, you can't pick my friends. And she was like, but you're being friends with like, like one of my closest friends had a baby at 13. When I met her, I'm like 12, 13. But I didn't judge her for that. I think it was the way I grew up. But I really teach in my home. I make sure that there is no colorism problems. We don't talk like a lot of things that I've heard. And I wanted to go back to this. Do you ladies believe that do we still talk like the school days, the Spike Lee movie School Days?
Yes.
Do y'all believe that is still prevalent?
We probably do. We meaning not me, but people of my age group, Generation Xers. But
they talk like
I think our children, I haven't really seen that. Well, at least in my limited experience of my children and their friends. And like my daughter has girlfriends of all different shades. I've never heard her compare or say that there was an issue that they shared with them. But again, like these millennials, like they on something different. They definitely on something different. And I think we should encourage that and uplift that because it allows them to maneuver this world and navigate this world and not feel held back. Even though they will, run into obstacles and challenges, but just having that aggression and that wherewithal to go forward and not hold yourself back because I'm too dark or I'm this or I'm that. I think that's an awesome thing and we should continue to encourage it.
Well, Mona, I have to tell you, we live in a society where they took cursive writing out of schools for about 50 years now.
It's still not in schools.
And we got Cardi B and mumble rap, right? So what do you think our children, our youth, we failed them for two generations since baby boomers. Our parents effed us up. So now we have to literally get on the purpose of saving our youth. And how do we do it? It's over sexualized. Everything is about orgies. Have you been on Instagram lately? I mean, like, for real, the world has changed before our eyes. And I feel like the old lady, from back in the day that used to tell us, leave rap alone and things like that. But it's really bad out here.
Now, I'm the girl with all these degrees and I love trap music and I'm like pro-ho and sexually free. But I do see even within, the music industry or whatnot, I do see how it's hypersexualized. But I also have to not take the power away from the parent. Like I was responsible for everything that was brought in my home that my kids seen. And while I might have been a more liberal parent and let them watch certain things that some parents may not have let their children watch at a certain age, I spoke to my kids and I constantly stayed in their ear and I taught them through life. So I think that's very important. As Black women, we can't just let our kids go to school and be raised by the community, society, and television. We have to be active parents.
Mona, I know, I'm a fan of yours. You know that, right?
Well, thank you. And you need no preface to disagree, love. Go ahead. I respect your brain. Go ahead.
I'm about to disagree with you.
It's quite all right.
Okay. But when at 7 o'clock, I can see two men on regular television tongue kissing. When I was a little girl, at 8 o'clock, remember? There was none of that going on. We had Dallas, we had Dynasty. I'm telling my age a little bit.
I had Woody Woodpecker.
But the thing is now at 7 o'clock, you see heightened sexual programming.
And
So
it
goes beyond the school system.
Oh
It
my
goes
God.
beyond the parenting. If you walk outside, simply, you will see it if you're paying attention.
And it's so disturbing, Shush. I'm glad you brought that up. Sometimes I have selective channels that I have my TV on, because now Nickelodeon even has a little boy who acts like a little girl, dressed like a little girl. And I'm saying I accept, but I think that it's still an age limit to where you're exposing our kids. We always watching movies of princess playing games or something educational, because every time I turn the TV on, I feel like I'm running like OJ through the airport trying to censor shit. And it's funny because I thought my daughter was young when I had to start talking to her about gay, trans, and different stuff like that. But I've had to start talking to my son even younger. He's 7. He just turned 7. And because of TV and mainstream, I'm literally talking to my son about things that I thought I wouldn't be talking to him about until he was, grown. At least he's 13, 14.
Now, I'm polyamorous and pansexual, so I'm a honorary.
And you're a mother. How do you feel about it?
I am a mother, and I have noticed the change in society, and I have noticed the agendas, and I had to preface it with that before saying something very critical, because I don't want people to think that I'm anti-gay or anything like that, or anti-trans, because I'm certainly not. But I believe that in an ideal world, our kids would just be exposed to, what's in society without the hypersexualization. But again, going back, like, if you cannot change the world that you live in, you have to work that much harder as a mother. Like, I would never take that responsibility or take my power away as a mother. Like Heidi said, she run into the TV trying to change that shit real quick, because she doesn't want her children to be exposed to anything that is not ideal for the way that she is raising them. And I'm not against that. Like, I didn't let my kids watch things that I wasn't already able to speak to them about, that I didn't feel like that they were on a brain level that they can understand, and a comprehension level that they can understand. And we just live in that world. And yeah, maybe one day we can change the world, and we can make the world, less evil with the occultism and the hypersexualization. I think gay people don't even realize that the whole LGBT community is being used for this whole gay agenda to push it through the media, and until we can get to that point, we have to just work 25 hours a day and 8 days a week with our children. You have to.
I wonderful.
Yeah.
But
and it's hard, but
it's actually simple if we worked in unity. You see what I'm saying? Because LGBTQIA has always been around the Black community. People think that it's a European thing. We've always had homosexuality in ancient.
Well, it's a human nature thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not for bashing the LGBTQIA community at all. But what I will say is that we should concentrate on less sexual and more sensual, and then teach our kids the responsibility to know that sex is a ritual. You don't give up your body.
Be careful where you lay your seed. That's what I tell my son.
And safe, and being safe.
Every woman ain't worth carrying your child.
I think people should be more proud of safe sex. It needs to be just a whole era of like condoms and safe sex, and like
dental dam.
Why is it so taboo to talk about safe sex? Like, even in the porn industry, they want you to see sex without the condom because they feel like it's more appealing. And I just feel like, put the condom on and make safe good. We got all this HIV, AIDS. We got diseases that we don't even know cures for. I mean, it's a lot of unprotected sex.
Have you seen the HIV rate for Atlanta? Like, for gay men and Black women, like, it's 1 in 2. Like, the HIV rate is so high, it's crazy.
What?
It's like every other woman you see, every other Black woman you see, they're saying is possibly HIV positive.
I thought they said every other male sees.
It's Black men and Black gay men and Black women are running neck and neck for HIV
because the Black men in Atlanta, they are saying there's a high rate of down low here.
There probably is a higher rate.
And you gotta understand. Go ahead.
Leads to death. So that's the point of depopulation agenda. That we got to be careful with all of these systems that are there and set in place to annihilate us. We're talking about all of it besides colorism, but it's
Yeah.
all connected. So I appreciate you, Heidi, and all of the panelists. I'm going back on
Right.
mute.
No.
We got a little bit of feedback from somebody. I'm not sure who it
Yeah, I
is.
think that was Shay. So Shay, when you're ready, you can unmute yourself. I muted her. I think she got some feedback. What'd you want to say,
Sugar.
Sugar?
Well, I mean, as far as colorism is concerned, you guys, me personally, I don't know, like, have you guys ever had like a direct experience with like colorism with someone in your family? I personally haven't. I will say that because my family, you know, it comes in all shades. We have like dark skinned people and then we have light skinned people. So I guess within my family, I never really encountered it. Actually, I didn't really think of it as like being a problem until I got like a lot older. That's when I started like noticing the whole, you know, light versus dark situation. So I can say for me personally, like I really didn't grow up with that.
I come from a multicultural family, meaning that I even have Caucasian cousins with the same grandmother. And within the family, our grandmother, our big mama made sure that we didn't treat each other differently. Like from our Caucasian cousins to our biracial cousins, all of us, we all sat on the floor on newspaper and ate grits come Saturday morning. But when I got into school and being a brown skinned girl and then kind of cute on top of that, I never directly experienced it like anybody treated me different because of my color of skin. But my favorite cousin who is dark skinned, and she's like a sister to me. I remember kids used to pick on her. They used to call her Blackie. They used to call her African booty scratcher and all kinds of names. And I didn't have a name for colorism, but I knew then that people saw her differently and they saw darker skinned sisters differently. And it used to just break my heart. Like, because I've always been envious of being darker. Like, I've always wanted to be darker, like my father. Yeah. So, yeah, I know at a very young age.
I'm sorry. I experienced colorism online as an adult for the first time on a message board. On a message board in 2006. I didn't know how to handle it because it was the internet. Like, what do you do when someone's coming at you and you was raised the way I was? Like, who do they think they are? The audacity, you know? But then I started to understand that not everyone was raised with the knowledge. And I know why they prepared me. So I see it all the time now, and people try to come at me like that. But I have this shield on, you know? It's like, are you
Well, you're a
serious?
beautiful dark skinned sister. And yeah, people are definitely stupid when they like, well, I look at sisters that, like I said, I have dark skin envy. Like my father is very dark. My mother is very light. So I'm like brown skin. And in the winter, I get very light too. And I've always wanted to be darker, like to the point that in Florida, I used to sit out in the sun after you go swimming. And I used to love that tan that I used to have on myself after I've gone swimming for a whole summer and I got really dark. So black has always been beauty to me and my family. Like that's the way I was raised, to see dark skinned women as being beautiful, being very attractive. So to be in this world where when you step outside of your house or your big mama's house and people are telling you that dark is not attractive, that has always been like the craziest thing to me. Like that's never resonated. Anybody who's ever said that to me, I've automatically put them on the crazy list, and not my type of crazy, like a completely insane type of crazy way. I've never understood it.
And that's how I look at it. I've never had a problem with finding a man. I've always been very sought after. I choose my mates, not them choosing me. So I don't understand what the big fuss is about. But it's not.
That's a good point that you just
The
brought up.
internet makes it look like it's a bigger issue than what it is in the real world. Yeah.
That's a great point that y'all brought up, because I feel like the media like sensationalizes colorism a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they put 20 on 10, because in everyday life, when I'm just like walking around or, you know, hanging with homegirls, like I don't see in any of my homegirls, I don't see any of my homegirls like having a problem with getting a man. You know what I'm saying? No matter what shade they are. It's just like when I go online or I look at TV, that's when it's mostly pointed out to me. I don't know.
It's so true. And I just wanted to make that known. That's my experience. That's my personal experience, and it baffles me till this day to see videos being made on black is this, black is that, and I'm like, these people who are like denouncing their blackness right before our eyes. That's why, we really got to be careful what we put out there, because we're the new CNN, NBC. They're looking at us. Everyone is, and
That's a
even if
good
you get
point.
low views, high views, whatever, these videos are forever. So what will your legacy be? Will you be the one cooning on YouTube, or will you be the one sending a message with your entertainment values? That's where I stand with it.
Right.
Preach.
I don't know.
Heidi.
Oh, go ahead.
Now go ahead, Sugar. I thought Heidi was gonna say something. You go ahead.
Oh no, I was just thinking about like some months back. It's like, as far as the colorism goes, I don't know if you guys had seen on like Instagram. It was like a bunch of like young ladies that were like white young ladies, but they made their pictures look darker.
I remember that. They were
Remember
like
that?
black
So that was
casting. Yeah.
astonishing to me, because these ladies, in particular, they are white. They have the European so-called standard, but they went and manipulated and changed all of that. But then when you talk to them about it, it seems as they don't see it as colorism, or they don't see it as a problem. So I always thought that was very
That's
interesting.
because hip hop runs the world. Like the hip hop culture and black music like literally runs this world. And a lot of people idolize blackness, not our struggles, of course, but just the appearance of blackness and our swagger, for lack of a better word. Like a lot of people want to be us. The European beauty standard is a figment of our imagination. The true beauty standard is big lips, brown skin, Afrocentric coily hair that has always been beautiful. You have white women perming their hair to have their hair look more afro-y. It's always been a beauty standard. F what you heard or what they try to say online. It's what you see in real life, and that's what I've always seen. Go ahead.
I have a question for all of you. All of you. Notice the interracial propaganda that they're pushing on these billboards and advertisement. They want white men with black women with white men. And I know Heidi, husband, is Caucasian. In respect to your relationship,
he's a good brother. He's a good man.
Of course. I mean, come on. My
Of
point
course.
is, that isn't the point. The point is, there is a underlying agenda going on right now because of the biogenetics DNA with white people dying off. Okay, so if you really look closely at the layers of that agenda, they want to marry, mate, and procreate with us.
Yeah. See, I come from a multicultural family, like I mentioned earlier. My grandmother is biracial. Her first husband was Caucasian. Her second husband was black. So that's how I ended up with Caucasian cousins, because her first husband and those children married predominantly white partners, and they had white children. Well, white children are like 90% white, 10% black, or whatever, who's counting. But so I grew up in a multicultural family, but I have yet to ever date outside of my race. It's not necessarily because I'm opposed to it. It's just like Sugar said, it's not necessarily the first thing on my list. Being from the South, there's not a lot of Caucasian people that I see that I resonate with. Now, you do have some that are from the hood, like some of my cousins, and they understand the struggle and this and that. But I have yet to come across male or female, because I am pansexual, a person of any other ethnicity, whether it be Arabic or Asian or anything, that I've ever, brown skin has just always been the sexiest to me and up against mine.
There we go.
Well, but Mona, you're a brain, right? Of course, right?
So
I'm a critical thinker, definitely.
Right. There's a depopulation agenda going on right now. Do you agree or no?
Yeah, and I think there's that always has been.
Okay,
like there's
hold
always been. Yeah.
Hold on. I just wanted to paint a picture. Okay, so do you believe that black people are a minority as we see on all applications, or do you believe that is propaganda?
I
Like
don't
the
see how
Mandela
black
effect?
people can be the minority when we exist in every freaking culture, on
Right,
every
we are the
freaking continent,
majority.
and every freaking country. I
Exactly.
mean,
So
we're
we are the
literally everywhere.
majority.
I feel the
Right.
same way. Oh my God. Oh my
It's,
God.
So the
it's
last
true.
question for Mona, and I just wanted to you know, allow her to answer, because I've heard you on your channel say this as well, and I've always wanted to ask you something. Use this opportunity.
Great.
Why you've obviously had children that are all black.
Yes, my children are all black. Their father is
Okay,
very
okay.
black.
So right, and
Was very black. He
I,
passed away a few weeks ago.
I appreciate that, and I'm sorry to hear that. But this is
Thank
the
you.
thing: the best thing that we need to do is procreate with our own. It doesn't matter who we marry.
Well, I believe here's how I feel about that. I believe that it is important for cultures to maintain their identity, but I don't believe that it should be anything against interracial marriage or dating or having children. I actually think it might be a good thing
as a
because
person in an interracial relationship, my daughter's father is all black, but my husband now is white. But what I would like to say about that is, if we had strong black men in a strong African American community that was really, really about that, I would say yes. I would say procreate in within the African American community. But the
we do for the ones that
American
ain't killed or
community
locked
is
up.
very broken.
Okay,
It's
but
very broken.
I want to tell you
The creme
something
de la
else.
creme of the African American men don't even want black women. Let me touch another thing. That in the 90s they were saying it was this light skin, pretty hair thing that black men wanted. But now I think that they've even evolved from that. They don't even want light skin, long hair black women no more. They've even evolved from a lot of white women now. Right now, black men are on to Armenian women, Asian women, Hispanic women, Japanese women. It's not even just the white woman no more. I don't feel like that black men are really just like going after the light skin good hair no more. I think they are going
I want to
for
say
total
something
different
whenever
races.
you guys get a chance.
Totally outside the race.
Just don't forget me in this topic before we move on.
But see, I've traveled the world, Heidi, 3 times and back. Okay, I come from humble beginnings, and I've seen everything in between billionaires to the grungiest hood dude on the corner. Everything in between. And what I do know is this: that is an agenda, because black people are mating with black people. That's the furthest from the truth. The high elite, I know a lot of NBA players, I know a lot of musicians, they are really married to black women. So I don't know, they only highlighting those that are married to the other side.
That's what I think it is.
I was going to touch on that.
Not everyone that's successful goes and gets an Armenian and a white or Spanish.
It's kind of like the whole idea that black men don't raise their kids or take care of their kids.
Well, not that.
That's
and also, if black men can go out and choose who they want, it's about time African American women get liberated and go out and choose who they want to procreate with.
And I agree with that as well.
Kids, them babies still gonna be black. Period.
I agree with that. Because if here's my thing though. I do agree with Trish when she says that it is imperative pretty much for black people to procreate with each other so that we don't die out. At the same time, you can date and love and do whatever you want with whoever, but at the same time, if you're going to do it, the problem I have with it, if you're a black man going with a white woman, you don't have nothing to say bad about black women. You stand on your own when you choose a white woman. Don't say, well,
stand on your preferences.
Right.
Not out of hatred.
You rarely see black women do that who are with the white man. They never bash black men.
Right.
I agree. I love black men.
But you see the opposite sometimes with black men who date outside of their race.
Yes.
They're like, well, I can't date black women because they're impossible. And I don't think any real love is based on hatred for another group. And I'm all for interracial marriage and coupling.
The police, the racist police is still going to shoot the mixed kid. The mixed kid going with the black kid. That's why I don't understand. We still giving birth to black kids because technically that's what they're going to call.
Yes, you are.
But see, here's the thing: marriage is a partnership. It's an agreement. It's a business transaction,
and it's an acceptance.
I would marry a white man. Right. You don't always have to. Most rich people, most rich elite, do not marry people for love. So that's one Disclaimer: they don't. They fall in love. Very few when it comes down to preserving their money and preserving their legacy. So when we build a legacy, you want to be careful. You definitely want to be careful where that goes, and it is a strategy because they're doing it to us. So, it's really who knows what and really what's going on and how you move in your personal life, because beyond marriage is a business structure. It's a family structure. We really got to get out of the clouds with that, and it burns my heart. But I will say this in respect to Heidi. You do have a good guy and a business agreement that I do promote, especially in Black women. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not talking about Heidi with this. I'm talking about others that really are not woke, even in their choice of mating with someone and laying down. We spend more time choosing what we're going to eat for dinner than our mates. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Oh, I agree with you, Shush. I totally agree with that. And like I said, if we had a strong African American community, if it was really strong like that, don't y'all think that I would have an African American man?
Well, I feel like this.
Why do I not have one? Do you understand?
I feel like this. Really quick to Shishtra, she had some really good points. So
I feel like I would be a great addition to an African American man's life. They didn't feel the same about me, clearly.
Well, you're a Pisces, so men are going to like you anyway because we're very feminine and we know how to take our place as a woman. Pisces, they love to be taken care of. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, you are too. So that's very natural for the Pisces sign. Yes. We're super feminine, and men, we always make good wives. They come for us. We never ever have a problem getting a man. It's just, who do we pick? Pisces have to understand that we pick the man don't pick us. So you chose that. You chose that.
Right.
Really quick, I wanted to say something to Trish really quick. She had a really good point about marriage. Marriage is a financial institution. And other cultures understand that. And what that word is called, it's actually called hypergamy. Hypergamy is what we have switched out in America, and we called it gold digging. No, hypergamy is when a woman is making sure that the man has an education and a financial backing that is equal or higher than hers. That is hypergamy. That's very smart. And why marriage is why a marriage is a financial institute is because this is how you know. When you get a divorce, the first thing your attorney says, they don't talk about how you want to divide love. They don't talk about how you want to divide the sex. They don't talk about how, if you want to divide the hugs and the kisses. They say, who got the land? Who got the car? Who got the business? That is a financial institution. You are supposed to marry based off of finances. Not the only reason, but finances is a huge deal in marrying people. So looks is a big thing. You want to be sexually attracted to the person. That's first and foremost. So it is very natural to marry for money, looks. It's not the only thing, because you do have to be mentally engaged as well. But the first things that you see, it is looks and money. Let's keep that 100. So
guess what? And there's a lot of white men looking to mate. White men and Africans. This is fact. It's statistically proven. White men and Africans are looking for Black women to marry.
And it's funny because white men would be they probably are already so attracted to Shush. Like, she is such a European standard, even with some white men in America. Like, she is definitely, like, her education, her freaking looks, her beautiful skin. I mean, her coolness. Like, white men are attracted to that as well. We talk about what they're not attracted to, but let's talk about people who are attracted to deep melanin, darker skin. It is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
You know,
we have the strongest babies. They understand that when they mate with us, let's keep it 100. When you mate with a Black woman, you do have the like Heidi say, creme de la creme of the melanin. It don't get no better. Your child. They did a study back in 2000, I want to say between 2005, 2007. And the studies show in a hospital when newborns are born and say they all have the same illnesses. The child, it could be an Asian boy, Asian female, Black same, white same. The babies with the same illnesses that actually survive is the Black female child will always outlive them because of her DNA is the strongest. We are queens, hands down. So they are going to come for the Black women because look at our hips. Our hips show you that we are made for procreating and having babies. We can hold our babies. And the thing is, a lot of white women, when they say, oh, I can't have a baby, the number one thing the doctors tell them to do is gain some weight. Okay, that's the number one thing they tell them to do. Our hips show you.
So real quick. So, Sugar, did you want to say anything? Y'all, we're getting close to time, and I have to do another show, and I want to let the ladies go in the next 10 minutes. Go ahead, Sugar.
No, boo, I'm all set. I was just listening to you guys talk about, because you had chimed in and you were talking about, like, you know, the community, so to speak, and basically you have went. I don't want to say you went outside, but for lack of better words, you went outside the community to you found your greater love. And so you were basically saying about how, you know, what's good, what's the deal? I mean,
right. It became about finances more than culture. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not a lot of good Black men out there. You got to understand. A lot of Black men are locked up. The good Black men are married and taken. So we got to, you know, well, not all of them, but I'm just saying, you're not just going to find a perfect Black man, you know, at the grocery store.
I disagree with that, Heidi. Stop playing. Black men are so dope. Let me tell you something. I come across them a lot, even though I've been married for almost 20 years. Yes, and I have a dope one. Let me just tell you. And he is like, I fell out. My thing fell because I wanted to tell you a quick story about my colorism experience as far as how growing up, I did have issue with light-skinned people because I used to think that light-skinned people treated dark-skinned people bad. And I used to witness it. So when I never would date a light-skinned man. My husband is the first light-skinned Black guy that I've ever dated because I thought light-skinned people were mean.
And that's what I also wanted to talk about, colorism from women who say, I only date dark-skinned men. And they do that in almost every culture. You got the Cardi B's, you got the Asians, you got the white girls. Let's talk about the colorism as far as the women only wanting the Black man.
I like to collect kings.
I love my dark-skinned brother, though.
Me too.
I have a lot of husbands.
They are sad.
I got them dark.
I have dated across the board. I've dated, like, you know what I'm saying, like all shades and stuff like that. I cannot just say this. This might be unpopular, but I think we pretty much already said it. I mean, I think maybe they're held to a higher standard because I'm talking about like the dark-skinned men over the light-skinned men. That might sound really bad? I'm sorry, but I think they might be a little bit more sought after. Is that like that to say?
I think a lot of light-skinned brothers are seen. I think light-skinned men are still like the more popular ones, but I think they're often seen as being weaker or more feminine.
There you go.
As a culture, like
white, like everybody is like, I want a chocolate man, I want a dark man. I've never heard women be like, I want a light-skinned man.
Exactly.
Now I don't hear that. But
a lot of
I just don't hear that. I don't hear that as an adult.
It's tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah. My only requirement of a Black man, they have to be over 6 feet. I don't like short men. I don't want no shorty. I'm 5'6". With heels, I'm 6 feet. No. We're not doing that. Cupping a man.
Yeah. Look, I think what it is because within the community, even though a lot of women are attracted to lighter skinned brothers, I think they do see lighter skinned brothers as being the weaker of the species. Yeah. Like we look at the Black man, we think Mandingo, we think
more virile.
He love you, he gonna be aggressive. You know, we see, lighter skinned brothers as being weaker sometimes.
That's so false. Because
No, I'm not
Musa,
saying that. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying that that's how
Masa Musa,
society sees
Mona,
them.
Masa Musa was
Yeah.
a little bit your complexion. And I love me a brown caramel man. I just like them to have bodies.
I
I
like
like
them
them to
so
look
black
like
they purple.
kings. You
Me
know, I
too.
don't like them all. I like black men.
Yeah.
They're just juicy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. No, I've learned to like light skinned men. I won't lie because I just had this whole thing of thinking that they were me. But I love black men. I'm sorry, can't nobody do it for me. It's just something about
They
it. It's
have
just the
some that
swag.
swag, right? That swag, that natural swag. And
Like I don't
everybody
like
tries to mimic it. It's
they're
not gonna
and they
happen.
cannot. Like if you see an African, it's so funny because even if you see an African, you never even heard his accent. Just the way that they put their clothes together and they walk, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's not Black American, he's African. Like I can just
Okay,
tell
so
the difference.
that brings me to a good question. I'm always hearing, you know, on TV, on social media, like I'm always hearing about how, like, you know, and I do it too, about how, oh, you know, as a sister, I want a black man. I just love black men. I think they're so great. I don't really hear it a lot from them though. Like, I don't too often, unless it's like Mother's Day or something. Like I don't hear their appreciation for us.
I
I
hear it a lot,
agree.
but I think
I
it's
do
probably
every
because
day,
of the
all
people
day.
that I follow. But I hear it a lot from black men. Like they love their black women. They love their black on black love. But
Who are
that's
you
probably,
guys
of
hearing
course,
from? Like
depending on
relatives?
who I'm following. Huh?
Yeah.
No, like King Zuma said, Heidi, we know you just want the good credit man. No, Josh really is an ally. But
How you know Heidi ain't the
but
one with
listen,
all the money
I
and the
can
good
take the
credit?
joke.
See
But
that
what I want to say
stereotype?
is,
Don't start
listen,
hating.
he's not perfect, but he loved black women. Like when I
And
met him,
not only that,
that
he
part.
loves you.
yeah,
He loves
he's
you.
always dated black women. But I will tell y'all something. When he was in high school, he was dating a black cheerleader, and his mother found out about it. And do y'all know that she made him break up with her
Oh.
because she
Aw.
was like, she, you know, really didn't know if it would cause trouble because he was so young. But
Yeah.
and to this day, he was aggravated about that. But he said he always knew the type of women he loved, regardless of
Can I
anybody
tell you
approved or
something,
not.
Heidi?
So I'm not a fetish. And I wouldn't let a man make me be his fetish unless he was paying me a coinage
Heidi.
and I wanted to act out that fetish.
Heidi,
But no,
But an
he
hour,
already love black women.
I
not for
want to
life.
tell you
Girlfriend was
something.
super chocolate. So he says that, you know, the darker the skin, the more exotic. So
Yeah.
me and Josh talk about black lives. We talk about black situations, the black community. We talk about his people, his ancestors, how it affected my family. My ancestors, sorry, my family. My family, yeah, my ancestors. So we don't run from the talk. We don't run
Heidi,
from the
Good.
talk.
I wanted to tell you something. You know by now that I'm a spiritualist.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you know this right now. I would not be on your panel if I thought you was dating an op or being
Right.
an op. I'm very much connected to energy, and I'm telling you right now, you have a very good man. And I really want to tell the people, all white people are not against us, and they understand. That's how Harriet Tubman was able to free us from slavery, because there was a lot of white people helping us along those trails. Get into it.
Amen.
But I will tell you this: not everyone has the same story as Heidi, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm speaking about, not Heidi.
Yeah.
I want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Shish Trish, can you drop your Cash App in the comment section? Also, ladies, I want to talk about.
I want everyone to donate to Heidi Fly's Cash App. I don't do Cash App right now. I'll start doing Cash App in August. I want everyone who felt my commentary to donate to Heidi Fly Uchi.
Oh.
Okay, because that's how we do it.
And Shish Trish, I love the way you are. I love that you get into the conversation. You challenge me. You want to know. I love that about you. Like you demand the mind to be used. That's what your whole platform is about, and I'm intrigued about that. I love that about you. We don't have to agree. You make me think harder. You make me tell information that probably needs to be told, because you know everyone's not going to ask the right question. Also, ladies, this is considered the most beautiful model in the world. She's the highest paid model in the world right now. This is Ducky Tots.
Oh wow.
Now, Ducky Thought recently was highly pissed, okay, because everyone was, all up in the air because Gucci, Cartier, Chanel, Alexander McQueen, all these different high-end labels, they got destroyed in the Black Lives Matter protest. So they're all pissed off about this. Well, Ducky said she left a tweet and she was like, how dare you guys be upset? Now, Virgil is one of the guys that work with Louis Vuitton. He is the CEO of Off-White, which is a peel off of Louis Vuitton. So she said, how dare you? If y'all are going to run up on anything today, let it be Louis Vuitton and Off-White. He needs to feel it personal because she's not even worried about this shit. She's worried about people like this guy. And they think we're stupid. We know what Off-White means. If you're working with a white label, you call yourself Off-White, you're saying I'm black, but I'm white. I'm a white black person. But I'm just saying that's what I take from the whole.
Who is he?
That's what this is Virgil from Off-White. This is one of his jackets. He's a designer. He's a good friend of Kanye West. Well, anyway, Ducky is upset that they are not talking about Black Lives Matter. So how do y'all feel about that? And she feels like that she is often used. She says, you guys are not just going to use me in this industry, but not stand up for real problems. So
Well,
I mean,
just stay quiet.
show y'all how beautiful she was. Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm
familiar with her. I think sometimes with famous people or celebrities, when it comes to standing up for political issues, it has a lot to do. And we have to remember that they are not their own brain. They're not their own mind before us. Sometimes they're people and they have to make a financial decision not to speak up. So it's very few of them that's like, F it, I'm going to be me and I'm going to speak the real.
When do we stop doing that? We finally have a situation
stop yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, when are these people going to stand up and stop being a slave to the industry? Like, you're already in there, Virgil. You're in there. So if you stand up for your people, they're not going to turn their backs on you now. It's not like you're trying to get in. You understand?
They might.
So, well, yeah, they could, but then it would be kind of like a Colin Kaepernick situation where she would come out on top. And I think that's what's going to happen. She said, the fashion industry needs to do more. Y'all literally use me to promote your products. Your silence ain't it. I want to see the support.
I mean, as a rebel myself, because I'm a bit of a rebel and an activist, I realize that not everybody has that in them. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is the type of person, nor do we want everybody to be the type of person just out there speaking their mind and saying how they feel. I don't think that I don't think it's fair to say that everybody should stand up and say something. Maybe some people ain't got nothing to say. Maybe what they have to add we ain't gonna like. You know, maybe they're just not as passionate or motivated or fearless to be able to say. So I don't think it's fair to just, I mean, I get what she's saying. I get that they're definitely using blackness and stuff, but she's paid as a model and that's the industry that she chose. And that just goes, and I'm not saying it's her, but I have a huge issue with this fake angst. I have an issue with this fake angry that we have.
I feel like whatever culture you're in, it's your responsibility to say something. I don't give a damn if you, even if you got to pretend like you give a fuck, you should say something. I just feel like everyone has a responsibility as a Black person, a Latin person, Indian, whatever your culture is. If you stand there and you don't say anything, I think that's a problem. I can understand if
they're cowards and they're not willing to lose all their money to say something and have people turn against them. And that's what we deal with in this life.
Yeah,
is that there are some people that are cowards and they just ain't got the heart to.
But you know what? They die a pathetic and sad death. They really do.
And I think that we need to understand that there's different positions in warfare. Everybody's not a warrior class where you get on the front line. There's people that's in the background, that's a nurse, people to feed the people who are in the middle line. And I think that even if you aren't bold enough to say something, if you're not bold enough to outwardly say something, then you still need to be doing something in the background. But I think what really bothered her was that they actually had the audacity to speak up.
I got 2 minutes. I'm sorry, I got 2 minutes. You guys, go ahead.
But they actually had the audacity to speak up about the brick and mortar, the actual building, and not the lies. That is what ticked her off. It's like, you want to speak about the actual store, but not the lives that was taken. So that pissed her off. Like, hold on, you're just going to use my life, but then sit there and cry over a store that I know you have millions of dollars of insurance that'll cover you even when Jesus comes back.
Right. Anybody have any last words, ladies? And we're going to wrap this up.
I've enjoyed myself. It was a great conversation.
And thank you guys for letting me
all of you ladies are wonderful.
Nice to meet you, Shay. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you guys for letting me stay on for so long. I had so much fun. Yay.
Thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything you're promoting, or do you want anyone to find you? Are you a content creator right now?
I'm not any of that.
Shay, you should become a content creator.
I don't think
you should definitely come back to the ladies' point of view.
I would love to come back with you guys.
That would be great.
I really would.
Email Heidi and definitely get in contact with Heidi. Yeah, that's what's up.
Oh yeah, but I don't promote anything or anything like that. I watch videos. I just do what I do. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I really do. I enjoyed myself so much.
Thank you for the knowledge. And Sugar, you was amazing as usual.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to say I enjoyed being on with each and every one of you. Shay, Shush, Trish, Mona, Simone. I'm just happy.
It was an epic panel.
Bless.
Yes, it was awesome.
This was an epic panel. I'm so honored to share the panel with you ladies. Shush, Trish, you got some closing words.
I appreciate to finally be a part of a panel that has cognitive awareness of what's going on in the world and with entertainment values. This is my type of panel. Please, if you ever have anything like this again, think of me. And I love Mona. I love Sugar.
Thank you, babe.
And Shay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course, Queen Heidi. Smash it.
Yes.
And listen, if y'all ever need me on anything, let me know. I'm available. flywithytv@gmail.com. I don't care if you think it's small. I don't care. I'll come on there. Anything. If you ever need me, you guys, I'm just an email away. I'm here. Okay.
I appreciate all the ladies and thank you for being responsible on this YouTube business platform. I'm honored.
I couldn't hear Heidi.
Heidi's the boss.
Platform today. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys in the chat. I'm so sorry we didn't get to the comments. You guys,
can't hear Heidi.
The conversation
Can y'all hear Heidi?
It just took a life of its own. So can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Mona, I think you're muted. I think Mona muted herself. So you guys, with that being said, we will see you at the next Ladies' Point of View. Please go subscribe to everyone, you guys. Thank you so much. Bye, ladies. Thank y'all so much. And blessings. No matter what you do, take each and every one of your chosen gods with you. And you will make it out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Heidi. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
All right. And
Thanks. Good night, y'all.
All right. Bye, you guys. Have a great, great night. Okay, you guys. I'll see you guys on this YouTube streets. Bye, Sugar. Look, Sugar must have froze. Okay. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. I want you to check out the Ladies' Point of View tonight. It's on fire.